If you could, um, let's see. We got some noise, honey. I don't know what that is. Do you? Trish. Yeah. Okay. Um, so if you could just raise your hand, a couple of you let us know that you got sound. I'm going to put them down. Raise a couple of hands. That would be good. Okay, great. We got sound. Some of you know we had a meltdown this week with computers. And so we just want to take a second here to get Davine lined up and get stuff recorded. Everything's back up. Our site's back up. It's been crazy wonderful. Quality problems, love them. Anyway, so we'll get going here in about 30 seconds. All right. Okay, it's all about honor, right? You guys showed up on time, so let's rock and roll. Big webcast today, a lot of material. Get comfortable. Let's rock and roll. A little housekeeping first. Some of you are still having struggle with videos. It's a very easy fix. It's your computer. They work fine. And there's a thing that says having trouble viewing videos. So if you are, check that out. It's a pretty simple fix. Also, in the news you can use, usually by Wednesday, all the webcasts are up for the upcoming week. And you can click on that. You don't have to register through the email. The advantage of clicking on that is that it'll open up like this for you, and you can actually click right on there. It says click to register. But right down below, you'll see the Desire assignments, in other words, the assignments for the upcoming week, which we email to you during this call. But you can get them early, or you can get them there. And, of course, you can get the PowerPoint version of what I do, which is sort of helpful. Some people are still struggling of where do I find the book and the workbook. Well, if you go to the Think and Grow Rich introduction, there's actually a heading, the very first one, that says Think and Grow Introduction with links to the workbook, and they're both right there. Davine had workbook and Think and Grow Rich workbook and Think and Grow Rich, but she put in click here to get Think and Grow Rich workbook. So we're doing our best from our end. Just read a little bit. Certainly happy to answer any questions, but it's all right there for you. If you miss one, for some reason we get emails from people that say, where do I find webinar replays? Well, across the top you'll see a link that says webinar replays, and the ones for name generation, which are not in there yet, because we haven't started those. By the way, the first one will be a week from Sunday. That won't be the techno stuff we'll be doing. That'll begin the following week. Next week, I'm going to show you how to get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 names instantly in your area for free. For those of you that like to work the way that I like to work, which is talk to people. But anyway, the webinar replays are there under webinar replays. Now, when you open up a Think and Grow Rich webinar replay, you will also find the notes and the assignment. So we've got them for you in several places. So just poke around a little bit. So three little things here. A poor option is emailing or Facebooking me, okay? It's really a slow turnaround. I just don't spend any, I've built 5,000 friends on Facebook, close to 5,000 friends, and I don't know, 25,000 followers on Twitter. Folks, I'm never in there, which is one of the things Kathy and Dave will show you how to do, how to manage that in about 10 minutes a week. A good option is to email questions you have to Davine at Go90Grow, but the very best option, because Trish is in there a little bit, Kathy's in there, I'm in there, and Davine's in there, is you'll actually helping other people when you ask your questions there. If it's something you can't find or whatever, do your best, but those are pretty good. The really a poor option is to email me personally. I got the same email that I've had since '95. I get about 2,000 junk emails a day, so just not the best way to do it, right? Take the shortest route. In the notes and resources, if you're directed to resources for a skill, in other words, if you're watching Frank Firelighters and it says go to the resources to find what goes through the prospect's head or list building, there's a link in there that says click that says more skills and training, so just click on that and 11 will open up for you. They're all in the same place. And the other thing is the notes that you get for this webcast aren't always going to match. And you want to keep your head in the game, okay? It's really that simple. And the Think and Grow Rich aids that some of you that have been more aggressive, by the way, kudos, fantastic. But this is a process, and just go through it the way it's laid out. A lot of us want to read a little bit ahead or view a few videos ahead. That's great, but the diet aid, the 7 laws of the mind, as we cover them on the webcast, they'll be posted up there for you. So if you're looking for something because you're 2 or 3 weeks ahead, my suggestion is spend that extra time that you're going ahead and sit and think. Just sit and think, okay? Okay. All right, so here we go. Setting up your journey. This is going to morph into a mastermind alliance, which is 2 or more people working in perfect harmony for a definiteness of purpose. What's really important is you'll understand as you go through this material that you simply can't make it without a mastermind. And I'm not talking about, hey, there's a mastermind call every Tuesday night and it's sort of a commercial for your company and, you know, whatever. This is a real mastermind. It's very different than what most people are used to. And so around week 8, 9, 10, it sort of formed, there's big chunks of the call that are an authentic mastermind, which is what you're going to want, okay? Nobody makes it without a mastermind, so you can be an observer, but you can start your teams right in that 8-week 9 thing, which is really kind of cool. In other words, you want to start your mastermind as a real mastermind and exchange of ideas. So we're going to cover desire today, and then next week we're going to discuss desire and definite major purpose. The future sessions, the next handful after that, will be sort of a discussion of the previous week and assigning the upcoming week. So make sure you're on the email list. All future assignments are going to come through that list, so get on it today. That's right in the get started, you know, where it says getting started. What? Yeah, it said start here. A mission statement. Overview of desire and assigning a definite major purpose. You guys are going to go to work today. You're actually going to do a couple of exercises right on the call with us today. But it's time to go to work. Orientation's over. Most important thing you'll ever do is write out a definiteness of purpose. And you want to use the go90grow@gmail.com. I'll give you more specifics about that later. But we're going to discuss the difference between accomplishment and achievement. And then we'll answer it, open up for some questions. Now this will shift from mostly me to mostly you around weeks 7 and 8. That's really when it starts. So a little more setup here. We're setting a foundation. We're going to build your definite major purpose on rock, not on sand, so that it's not weak, that it's strong. But it's P90X. It's just like the P90X or Insanity commercials. I'm sure you've all seen them. Okay, Davian and I didn't get in the shape that we're in today, which is much better than it was several months ago, believe me, by watching the videos. You've got to participate in this thing. And we had a couple of people on last week that talked about, you know, how they didn't really commit initially and they fell behind. And we don't want you to worry about that because you've got a lifetime membership, but I'm putting it out there as a precursor. Do the work, okay? We feel really proud of the fact that all marketers online that are consultants or tell other people how to get their product to market, they all tell you 3 things. Don't tell them it's difficult or challenging. Don't tell them it's going to take time, and make sure you tell them it's easy, okay? We feel good. We told you in the webcast, this isn't for people that think that they're going to point and click their way to success. This is like one of those programs, but I want to tell you something. You know, you look at some of the other exercise programs, they hire celebrities and tell you can get like great abs in 6 seconds a week. I mean, come on. You know, this is work, but if you do the work, you're paying the price for success, and it gets so easy, it's ridiculous. So a little longer for me today. It's not the norm. It'll be posted. Get on the list again. I know I keep repeating that. And we always try to tell you what the email is about so you don't have to read a lot of emails that aren't germane to you. So you simply can't succeed without a mastermind alliance. Experience a true mastermind will help set up one with your team, one that makes a difference. Let me say this again. You simply cannot get to anywhere near your potential without an authentic mastermind. Now, you'll be experiencing one here, okay? So that when it's time for you to set one up with your team, which will be around the 10th and 11th week, it'll be correct and you'll succeed, period, okay? So we'll share our mission statement about the mastermind when we get to that week, which is week 10. But in general, it's to help each of you individually improve personally so the professional skills they're learning have an even more dramatic impact. See, all the skills are based on the limbic system, hero's journey, subconscious mind. That they're all really inseparable. Okay, so if we can help you improve in those areas, then the skills are going to have a far more dramatic impact on your business. This in turn helps create a demand for Go90 Grow. Why do I say that? Well, the more successful we can help people be here, then we have what W. Clement Stone coined as the greatest sales force in the world, satisfied customers. And certainly we've seen this in the last class from this last enrollment into Go90 Grow. We have some people making over $60,000 a month that got Go90 Grow because people on their teams got it and they saw them do better. Okay, so participants receive compensation that's far greater than their contribution. So that's really the deal. So we'll get specific about that in the 10th week. But let's talk about what I will be doing and won't be doing and what you'll be doing and what you won't be doing. We're not going to be rehashing in detail what's on the videos. That's your job. Okay, view the assigned video for the week prior to the session. You know, if you watch it a couple of times, that's great, but make sure you see it before the session. And again, you want to cover the intro and 1 and 2 for this and next week's sessions. Okay, if you've seen the intro or seen one a couple of times or two, that's great. If you need to go back and view them again, that's great. If you haven't seen them, you need to see them. You want to read the matching sections in Think and Grow Rich and do the matching assignment in the workbook, okay? We've covered where to find everything. We won't be answering questions on this call about name generation or skills. We have separate calls for that. This is about your spirit. This is about your definite major purpose. This is about learning something about yourself that if I do my job, and I will, okay, sometimes I do it better than others, but I get it done, okay. It's about you discovering this incredible power that you already have. So we'll be discussing Think and Grow Rich, the assigned material from the week before. So this week and next week we're talking about desire. Now before we get started, I want to address the ladies here, okay? And some of the language in Think and Grow Rich. Obviously, you know, to understand Hill, to understand Stone, you have to understand that that was just the language of the time. And if they talk a lot about men or man or whatever, ladies, either put WO in front of it so it resonates with you, build a bridge and get over it and think that they meant mankind, or cross it out and put woman in there. They had a tremendous understanding, which is far different than the understanding that's shoved down our throat today in society. You know, they were more aligned with the people pre-dark ages that held women in the highest esteem, that they're the givers of life. And believe me, I know this because I had the privilege of working with W. Clement Stone personally right when I got out of college. And so, you know, don't let the language throw you off there, okay? Trust that they mean mankind, or change it mentally or physically, okay? That's what you need to do. So let's talk about the difference between accomplishment and achievement. I find that most network marketers talk about what they want to accomplish. They want to get their credit cards pay off. They want to hit a PIN level. Or they want to get a new car. those are accomplishments. They're great things, and we want to celebrate those. But the truth of all truths is that most people are living lives of quiet desperation because they're focusing on these things that are not creative at all. Paying off your credit cards early, that's great. It needs to be celebrated. But you agreed to pay them off anyway. And as far as paying down the mortgage, well, you got to live someplace. These are not achievements. These are accomplishments. A definite major purpose is built around achievement. So we want to think in terms of achievements. Maybe you want to write. Maybe you want to draw or paint. Maybe there's a dream compound that you want to have for your family. You want a career change that gives you tremendous both personal and professional fulfillment. In blue there, the main thing, of course, is to pursue your bliss. Where's your real happiness in life? And getting a new car feels great. What you're really doing is getting rid of an old problem, and that new car is going to become an old problem. All those things on the left are pretty much temporary, and we all focus on those so we can avoid, right, what we really want to achieve out of our life. Here's the really dramatic irony. We're all control freaks, okay? So here you have, for the first time, maybe in a long time or ever, where you're asking yourself, I'm asking you, what do you want your life to look like? Let's assume all the stuff on the left under the accomplishment, and maybe some other things that aren't there, and maybe there's a few things there that aren't important to you. But if all that's taken care of, what the hell are you going to do? What are you going to do? So what do we do? Because we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we want. We don't want to make that decision. Nobody's even asked us to. We've never even asked ourselves to. We get involved in all this minutia on the left and the problems and accomplishments and challenges and defeats and all that stuff. That becomes the drama of our life. Folks, there's nothing on the left there that's meaningful to a life. They're part of life, but they're not meaningful. Let's get them out of the way. Here's what you're going to find. When you pick a definite major purpose, building a living legacy, what do you want your purpose to be? Do you want to get on a boat for 6 months and sail around the world with your family and come home to even more money than you possibly could have expected because you've built this self-replicating organization? Maybe there's something you want to do. Maybe your backyard is an art form for you. Okay, that's great. What do you want to achieve in your life? And my point here is really simple. Most people focus on accomplishment, and there's really no substance in their life, and these challenges and defeats and problems with the things on the left, okay, end up being the definition of our life. You want to move past that. Here's what I know. Once you decide what it is that you really want to achieve with your life, what do you want to achieve? And I really want you to, and we'll do this a lot over the next 4 weeks, really break down the bull crap of what other people think achievement really means. It can be something as simple as creating just this wonderful garden, flowers or vegetables or both or whatever in your backyard. That can be the statement of who you are, that you're working at something that you love. That's your bliss. Or moving to Hawaii or whatever, fill in the blank. But what is your bliss? Where is your bliss? Is something that's totally different than happiness. Where is it? What is going to make you feel blissful and fulfilled as a human being? So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you'll focus on achievement with this formula that you're going to learn, if you focus on what you want to achieve, you'll accomplish all that stuff anyway that's necessary to accomplish so that you can get busy with the achievement. Pretty cool thing. So think and grow rich. You got to understand who you are. You were created for success. You were not created to get your credit cards paid off early, get the mortgage paid down, and have substantial money in your retirement fund. That's not what you were created for. That stuff is easy. We only make it hard and challenging so it gives us a feeling of being alive. It isn't really being alive. It's just painting by the numbers. We don't want you to paint by the numbers. You got to get who you really are. And who you really are, you were created for success. You were created for abundance. All the illuminated ones taught the same thing, including the master teacher who talked about, I don't come so that you can have life, but so you can have it more abundantly. But we've been programmed for failure with what Dave likes to call the red pencil syndrome. What's the red pencil syndrome? It's a way to control you. It's a byproduct of people's sloth. Remember when you were a kid in school, you got your paper back and there'd be like 5 red X's on it or 6 red X's. Why? Because the teacher was too lazy to put 24 green C's on it, right? It was faster for her. And you worried about how many you got wrong. You counted up how many you got wrong. By high school, you know, how many can I get wrong to get my driver's ed test? How many questions can I get wrong? This is the red pencil syndrome. And, you know, if your SATs are below a certain score, you won't be able to get into a good school, so you won't get a good job, and your life will be ruined. Well, you're reading a book right now, over 500 men and women, most of them never even got out of high school because they didn't buy that. But we've been so mass marketed this pass the test, and of course, what do? They keep moving the goalposts. So even after you pass this test, there's still another test, and there it is again, the red pencil syndrome. That was wrong. You did that wrong. How many times a day does somebody tell you you did something right? If you want it to start happening more often, your life will change if you start identifying people that did things right. Don't just say thank you at Starbucks. Say, hey, man, you nailed this coffee. You did a great job. Start doing it, and people will start telling you the same thing. Anyway, you were made for the best by the best. You were created first class by first class, and you're entitled to go first class as long as you're in a first class job of rendering service. So the red pencil pounding continues, though. And TV, every TV show, every commercial on the TV show, in movies, radio, the socioeconomic machine that we're all subjected to, the educational system, it's about us, you know, all TV and advertising and all that, and the multiple forms of media we get are all designed to do one thing, make you feel you're doing something wrong. Make you feel that if you just get this cologne, you'll have the right guy. If you just lose 40 pounds, you'll get the right woman. If you just get the right job. You ever notice the people that are in McDonald's, the kids are always well behaved. There's no ketchup or stains on anybody. Their shirts are tucked in. It's all bullshit. Pardon my language. I swear twice on the call in the whole 14 weeks. This is one of the 2 times. Sorry, ladies. But anyway, and men, if that's offensive to you. But the truth is, it's this false, it's this false idea of what makes one right and normal, and it's meant to entice us into buying things or behaving in certain ways that don't have anything to do with anything. It's about the red pencil syndrome, and of course, the government is the leader in all that about, you know, us things being wrong, what we did wrong, forms we have to fill out, and all that stuff. So let's talk about the blueprint, because we want to change that so that we're not affected by the red pencil syndrome. In other words, if you're making your decisions in life based on that red pencil syndrome, and it's almost impossible not to until somebody enlightens you and you grasp and put in play that enlightenment. There's the blueprint right there. We have a thought, it gets charged with a feeling, and that creates a belief. In other words, your perception of the experiences that you have during the course of the day, week, month, year, and lifetime are charged with feeling, and that creates a belief. Those beliefs are what our actions are dictated by. And of course, our actions generate results. Non-action generates results as much as an action, right? A non-action is an action. So what does this really mean? Well, it really means that that's the blueprint. Most people work on the action box. I'm going to double my efforts in the business. No, they're not. They're not going to double their efforts. They might for a day or two, but then it's back to the same thing. Why? Because your thoughts, the feelings that you've attached to those thoughts, based on your associative memory, create a belief in you, and those beliefs dictate your actions. So if we want to change, we need to change the blueprint. If we don't change the blueprint, the actions won't change. It's really that simple. And even if they do change with sheer will and determination, which is freaking exhausting, okay, we will find a way to self-destruct anyway. Why? Because we don't value who we are and don't believe we're worthy of receiving that stuff anyway. So we're going to fix all that. Well, actually, you're going to fix it. One of the things that Dave and I like to teach or share with you is, and I know Kathy feels pretty much the same way, is nobody can help anybody. What we can do is create an environment where you can help yourself. So the blueprint right there is that your thoughts charged with feeling create your beliefs that dictate your actions. Here's something that's really frightening. The subconscious not only makes all the decisions, but in studies it's shown that they actually make them up to 7 to 8 seconds before you even know the decision's been made. The conclusion that they came to, sadly, is there's no evidence of free will. Oh my gosh. So all that conditioning by the schools that we have, which were based on the Prussian schools, no wonder you're confused. The model is really simply, you can be what you want to be, you can do what you want to do, you can learn to think for yourself and all that, but you better conform. No wonder we're confused and screwed up. Okay, so the reality is there's no evidence of free will in these scientific studies, but they held out hope. On this, there can be no debate that the subconscious mind makes all the decisions. Okay, that's a done deal. So 100% of your success, therefore, is contingent on you making a change in thought, because you're going to create a different blueprint so that the decisions that are made 7 seconds before are based on the blueprint that you decide, not your mommy and daddy, and not the schools, not the teachers you had, not the companies that you went to work for, not the government, and not what they taught you in church, but what you think. Okay, your success depends on this fact. If you leverage the material and the exercises and you discover the secret that Hill talks about is literally on every page, you can do that. How did Hill know what to ask? This became my obsession. I told you last week that, you know, I had successes, but it was really close but no cigar, even though they looked like successes to other people. I never felt secure in them until I applied all the principles and didn't grow rich. And as I started to do that, I started to realize that this obsession was emerging in me. How did this 21-year-old hillbilly, and that's what he was a hillbilly, how did he know what to ask these people? So I started to study Hill, and as it turns out, Carnegie, who gave Hill the challenge to take on this job for 20 years without pay, okay, it turns out that he gave him a book, which we also teach a course on, called The Master Keys. So a majority of mankind lives in the world without, few have found the world within, yet it is in the world within that makes the world without. That's the blueprint. It is therefore creative, and everything which you find in your world without has been created by the world within. Without a different blueprint, your subby is eventually going to make the same decisions and override that determination that you have. You don't need determination, okay, except in one area. You need to be determined to find the greatness within you, and believe me, it's in there, okay? This system will bring you into a realization of a power which will be yours when you understand this relation between the world without and the world within. In other words, that internal blueprint. The world within is cause. That's the blueprint. The world without is effect. To change the effect, you've got to change the cause. Okay? You already have this power. It's just been red penciled out of you. And sitting for the 15 minutes is when you'll start to discover, some of you in the 2nd week, some of you in the 17th week. It doesn't matter. Okay? All that matters is that you just get a little better every day at sitting absolutely still. We'll show you what to do with your mind, give you a couple exercises, but you already have this power. It's your birthright. It was given to you in the creation. It's just been beat out of us, usually around the time we're 5, 6, 7 years old. you'll find you will at once see this as a radically and new different idea. Most people try to change effects by working on the effects. In other words, they focus on the action box, not the thought box. They fail to see this is simply changing one form of distress for another. To remove discord, we must remove the cause. And this cause can only be found in the world within. And this is your benefit for committing until June 29th, because by then you'll be committed to this for life. And that is this a remarkable journey. The great journey in life is the one within. And there's your blueprint, okay? That's where it starts. It doesn't start on the action box. It starts on the thought box. Make a decision. Conceive, believe, achieve. We've all been to an event and they say, you know, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Well, W. Clement Stone actually was the first one to share that with Hill, but he shared it in a totally different context than network marketers do, because network marketers are doing their best, but they don't do their homework. The reality is that's always been true. It's always been true. Every condition in your life was conceived by the feelings that you developed around a thought, and your belief led to what? Actions that achieved it. So all the yucky conditions I have in my life, or guess what? I conceived, believed, and achieved them, okay? So this isn't something you have to reach for. You don't have to become a different person. Your life is evidence that this is true. Everything which you will find in the world without has been created in the world within. In other words, you conceived it, you believed in it, and you acted on it, so you achieved it, okay? Even the problems. The subby, where the thoughts become beliefs, makes all the calls. The decision, folks, you've got to buy into this 100%. That's what you've got to do. Now, if you want to resist it, that's your old blueprint. If you need a little help, the conditions in our life are a reflection of our subconscious beliefs. Instead of debating it or having reservations or trying to think of exceptions, ask yourself this one question instead. By the way, when I was asked this question, it changed my life. Why? Because it changed my mind. Now, here's the stunner about changing your thought. In studies done at MIT, it requires 1/1 billionth. 1/1 billionth. I can't even think of what that would look like. 1/1 billionth of a volt of electricity to change your mind. This changed my mind. And he asked me, why are you sacrificing all the things you want to keep the things that you don't want? Oh my gosh. If all the things in my life that I don't want, all the conditions, the debt, the problems, the stress, if they're all a result of me conceiving those things, right, and then subconsciously taking action to manifest them, why am I hanging on to those instead of surrendering? The reason? Simple. I was a prideful jerk, okay? I was a rationalizing know-it-all, circular logic and everything else. Why? Because I didn't want to do the work. Okay, I was hanging on to pride, and by hanging on to pride, what was I sacrificing? Discovery. So from Buddha to Socrates to Plato to the master teacher and everybody in between, we find the exact same thought. The world without is a perfect reflection of the world within. The 500 that turned into tens of thousands discovered it also. Become a discover-it-all, folks. Don't be a know-it-all. Be an open 3-year-old child with this thing, okay? How about you? What's your decision? What's your decision? Okay. All right. So the world without is a reflection of the world within. Within lies the power to generate courage, to generate hope, to generate enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith. Oh my gosh. How would you like those things? How would you like to have courage and hope, enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith? Well, guess what? It's right there. That power is in you. You just have to learn that it's there, and you'll need to learn how to access it. We're all just pretty poor operators of the mechanism that sits between our ears. Possession equals consciousness. What does that mean? Gain is a result of accumulative consciousness. Loss is a result of scattered consciousness. I know that I can only swear one more time. I'm not going to use it up now. But this is total, this thing about ADD or AHDT or whatever it is, oh my God, it's basically triggered by poison in the food and people believing that it's true. It's simply a lack of focus. The multimedia stream that we get hit with leads to what? Scattering of consciousness. The subconscious and subtle messages in billboards and on the internet and advertising and all that try to make us be everything to everybody rather than just be the best to ourselves. This leads to a scattering of consciousness, okay? In other words, you can't cram Think and Grow Rich. This is the key to the vault. It's a cumulative consciousness. These exercises that we give you and assignments we give you, they build one on top of the other. And what's the objective? For you to be able to access a power that you've already had to generate courage, hope, enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith. I don't know if that sounds like anything you want, but I want. Is it any wonder that the red pencil syndrome has scattered our thoughts and our blueprints are out of whack? Absolutely not. So kudos to you for getting on this call. Kudos to you for getting involved with this. Kudos to you for trusting the voice inside you that said, get this course. You're going to find out what everybody does that gets Go 90 Grow. You're going to find out we are going to push you to think. Okay, we're going to push you hard to think. We're going to push you soft. We're going to drag you. We're going to pull you. We're going to do whatever we have to do to get you to think. And you're going to find out what everybody else did. The skills they were marked. They were great. They were incredible. They were amazing. They changed my business. But the real value was discovering the power that I had within me. They amplified all that stuff. This is the book, The Secret. Sorry, folks, if you're a fan of The Secret. It's weak at its very best. Why do they leave the workout? Well, that's what I told you about people that tell people how to market stuff online. They left the workout because it's easier to sell books. The mental work of challenging and changing your blueprint, folks, that's, you know, it's a challenge. But one of the things that distinguishes people that are happy and successful, notice I'm saying happy and successful, I'm not saying successful and happy. People that are happy and successful, right, view a challenge completely differently. They see it. They see situations like the material you're getting exposed to. They see that as a challenge instead of a threat. They see it as an opportunity instead of stress. And I want to deal with this nonsense that children learn faster than adults. It's total nonsense. It looks that way because they know nothing. A 2-year-old knows nothing, and when they're 2 months later, it seems like they've learned so much percentage-wise, but they can't grasp concepts. They can't grasp many of the things that you can. Adults can learn faster. It's just that you haven't been in a classroom for a long time. W. Clement Stone actually proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you'll know this in your heart by the 4th or 5th week, I think it is, maybe 6th, that it takes less energy to succeed than it does to fail. So the energy that you're putting into your network marketing program and into yourself, that you're not getting the results that you want, it's because of the thoughts that you're holding. Once you're holding the right thoughts, it takes virtually no energy to succeed. Virtually no energy. By comparison, it takes no energy. Okay, so that's a good thing. There's 13 steps to riches. 13 are always present if a challenge changes to occur. Okay, in other words, when challenging you to change the way that you think, that takes 1/1,000,000th of a vote, folks. That's not a lot of energy. One is a definiteness of purpose. 95% have them. 95% of the people fail because they don't have one. 5% of the people succeed because they do. So a definiteness of purpose backed by a burning desire, a positive mental attitude, not layering. What do I mean by not layering? This isn't about, you know, taking one of the things I said that, like, you know, about the red pencil syndrome, or, you know, you were made first class, by first class. If that just sits on top of the old blueprint, it's not going to have anything. This is authentically getting down to the core in your subconscious mind and building a faith mentality out from there, so it's not laying on the old blueprint. And a mastermind alliance. If you get those three, the fourth ingredient, a perfect plan, always manifests itself. The perfect plan grows out of those three things. So 95% of the people don't have one. 95% of the people fail. In New England, we call that a clue. Until we have an authentic, definite, major purpose, don't torment yourself with daydreams. Why form a mastermind alliance, right? And why set goals? Well, the answer is you shouldn't do any of those things until you have an authentic, definite, major purpose. Any plans we make are faulty and doomed to mirror the previous plans and results. They're doomed to do that, okay? DMPs, that is a definite major purpose that's authentic. It won't fall down, it won't slow down, and it explains why goal statements don't work. Why goal statements don't work is they don't support a person's definiteness of purpose in life, meaning that they're living life with purpose and on purpose. Once you have one, you'll select goals that support the definiteness of purpose. Most of us do it backwards. For example, I want to get out of credit card debt. Guess what you keep saying to yourself? Credit card debt, credit card debt. I'm going to get out of debt. I'm going to get out of debt. All you're going to do is create bigger debt for yourself because you're planting in your subconscious mind the word debt. And you're in the subconscious mind is going to deliver that to you. So celebrate this knowledge that we've been living it backwards. Let's look a little bit closer at the big three in a DMP. It's a work in progress. We're going to help you. It may take several attempts. It usually does for most people to get it right. You want to put your full name and DMP in the subject line of the email or we'll miss it. Be patient in getting returned to you because we get an onslaught of them at once and then they kind of thin out a little bit. But be persistent. If you haven't heard back in 3 days, just check with us. Sometimes, believe it or not, they end up in our spam folders or whatever. But some of the DMPs are going to get knocked down because of ISPs. It's just the way it is, your internet service provider. So, you know, don't be shy about saying, hey, where's my thing? Be nice to the girls and to me. Well, you don't have to be nice to me, but be nice to the girls because they're the ones running the show, okay? Here's some pointers. When you start to write out your definite major purpose, make the statements in the present tense. Eliminate the word will. For example, don't write, I will work out every day. You would put instead, I work out every day. Will is an option. Leave the word will out. You've probably used it before, and you haven't always done what you said you will do. So just don't do it. Put it in the present tense. Add feeling, okay? And securing a home debt-free gives me peace of mind and joy, okay? So add feeling to it. Why? Thoughts charged with feeling become beliefs. So you want to put it in the present tense. The statements that you make in your DMP in your present tense, attach a feeling to it, okay? Really important. So what does the word impossible really mean? Well, buckle up. Your world is going to change right now. Here's one of those brilliant flashes of the obvious. Be open. Let the billionth of a volt go off for you. I want to talk about method versus intention. Intention is what we want, and methods are ways of obtaining it. Most people live life backwards. It's really hard to go forward living life backwards. Now, I covered that a little bit in one of the videos, but let's really spell it out. You might be thinking, yeah, I get it. Why so much detail? Well, we're going to build our house on rock and stone, aren't we? We're not going to build it on sand. Let's redefine impossible. Backwards, looking at the methods to determine your intention. This is what most people do. Thinking of an intention, in other words, I want to come to your live event in Hawaii, Mark, but I don't have the method to get there. I don't have the money. It's really impossible for me to come. This is how we've trained our minds. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? When you say, this is what I want, and then you look at the methods, and if the methods aren't available, what do we say? It's impossible. It can't be done. We've trained this incredible savant, servant mind totally backwards. Why? The red pencil syndrome. We've been taught not to think. We've been taught to conform, and we've been taught that impossible means if the methods aren't available, you can't have it. Living life forward is to declare your intention. That's the first thing you do. Separate from methods available, declare your intention, and then examine the methods. if you commit to the science of achievement, will show you how your subconscious mind, which already has the solution in it, will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while you're sleeping, while you're waking, okay, to find the supply to meet that demand. How does it work? That declaration, your intention, becomes a demand, meaning the supply means creating the methods that are currently unavailable. The subby does not see methods unavailable unless you focus on methods that are unavailable. If you focus exclusively on your intention and create a demand in the subconscious mind, the subconscious mind will find a way or make a way to create the new methods for you. The 500 plus in Think and Grow Rich sat daily for ideas. They used the same read the same assignment assigned every day for 1 week. Use a highlighter. Notice where you're resistant. Okay? Do the exercise. Repeat it daily. Then, after you read, sit still for 15 minutes. Now, it's going to be easy for some. It's going to be hard for others. If you get an itch or the whatever, deal with it. If you can't control your body, you'll never control your mind. You see, if everything begins in the world within, which is the world of thought, you've got to control your mind. The Creator did not give you your Creator, my Creator, whatever you want to call it, universal law, universal mind, God, Jesus, Buddha, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't really matter what the entity is. Okay, you need to develop transparency around that to let it shine through you so you can transcend. It's really that simple. But the bottom line is, in all of those writings, we're all taught one thing. We don't have control over 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 things. We only have control over one thing, our thought. And until we control our body and prove to ourselves we can never control our mind, which means we can't what? Alter the blueprint. So highlight the passage that resonate with you. We're all using the same text. Follow the directions, okay? Notice if you resist this. That's the old blueprint. You've got to override it. You simply have to override it, okay? Some don't know, and they've already decided not to engage in this. I don't need to read that every day. Yes, you do. You need to read it every day, and you need to sit every day. Now, there's a couple of chapters that are later that are really long, and I'll alert you to those where you're just going to be reading the highlighted parts. But what's more important is that you identify resistance, that you go and sit, that you haven't sat today, and you say, okay, I'm going to start tomorrow. No, you're not. What you're doing is setting up the same pattern that you've probably set up your whole life. So change that. If you haven't sat today, sit after this call. Procrastination, etc., that's the old blueprint. Folks, dig in. You got to dig deep. You got to dig deep. You got to do better than the best you got to do better than the best you can. The best you can is what losers say. Winners do their best. Anybody can read and sit for 15 minutes. It's a choice. And one of the old blueprint reactions is, I don't have the time for that. Well, if you don't have the time to do it right, when are you going to have the time to do it over? It's your old blueprint that's telling you don't have the time. And we'll talk about time in a minute, but you have to think of it this way. The subconscious mind is like a plot of land. Does the land care what you plant in it? No. It's going to return whatever you plant. You can plant deadly nightshade, okay, or you can plant corn. Does the land care? Absolutely not. The dirt doesn't say, I don't want to grow corn. I want to grow nightshade. It doesn't care. And your subconscious mind is exactly the same, and it's got no defense against your voice. It believes what you tell it 100%. I know I said this last week. I said, don't say negative things to yourself. We're all done talking that way. Say positive things, because telling you not to say negative things puts a negative thought in there. You've got to be precise with your words. You've got to get this. You've got to get it. You've got to feed the land nutrients, positive things about yourself. You must do this, okay? Because today we're tilling the soil, but guess what? Folks, I'm thrilled to tell you this. You're the farmer. And the thoughts that you've been planting and nurturing are the conditions that you have in your life. That can change for you as soon as you make a decision you know what, I'm going to listen to this crazy Guinea Bullock from Kauai. I'm going to go with this thing, okay? Claim the power, create and manifest, or you're going to default, okay? From this, it is evident that in order to express power, abundance, or any other constructive purpose, the emotions must be called upon to give feeling to the thought so that it will take form. How may this purpose be accomplished? This is a vital point. How may we develop faith, the courage, the feeling which will result in achievement? The reply is by exercise. Okay, mental strength is secured in exactly the same way that physical strength is secured by exercise. It just doesn't look like the type of exercise you've been told. You know, I mean, I'm doing Insanity for 8 minutes and I'm wringing wet. This is a quiet exercise where you're quieting your mind. Okay, we think something perhaps with difficulty the first time, which is defining, redefining, and repeating your DMP. We think the same thing again, and it becomes easier this time. We think it again, and it becomes a mental habit. We continue to think the same thing. Finally, it becomes automatic. We can no longer help thinking this thing. We are now positive of what we think. There is no longer any doubt. We are sure we know. It's that simple. It's that simple. And there it is. So it starts where? It starts right there with thought. I've given you a thought. You already have feelings about the thought I've shared with you up to this point in the webcast, which has really been the same thought from 4 different angles, okay? And you have a feeling about it. That's created, or it's fit in with an old belief that you have, or your old blueprint is overriding it. No, you didn't lose me. I just wanted a pregnant pause there. Okay. All right. Charge it with feeling. Okay. In other words, you want to dream out loud enthusiastically. Enthusiasm means God or spirit in you. Okay. So auto-suggestion, according to Hill, this is killer. Explains why so many people go through life in poverty. People think that they're not going to engage. I'm not going to say positive affirmations to myself or read that out loud. They don't get that they are giving themselves auto-suggestion all day long anyway. Why? We got no defense against our own voice. So why not choose words that we want our subconscious to gravitate to? Feelings, meaning enthusiasm, will drive it deeper. Remember, it's thought charged with feeling creates a belief. So we want that belief charged with emotion. It will not work without enthusiasm or feeling. I used to stand on the back porch. I had a porch in this house in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and we lived up on the bluff of a river. And it was a nice little neighborhood. The houses were kind of spread out, but you know, it was an average place to live. And I had this woman next door, Donna. And I'd be out on the back porch, and I'd be reading, "My personal pivotal needs are true health and legacy. I promise I have $2 million in additional cash on 4/25/14. I earn this money selling Master Key Mastermind Aligned courses, Go90 Grow, and networking through a highly responsive list and JV partners. I'm living in Kauai. I'm loving my life in Kauai. I am ecstatic to be living in Kauai. I identify areas that people need help and create information products to help other people learn to help themselves and obtain their definite major purpose. Kauai rocks. I'm living in the mountains. It's incredible." So after about 2 weeks of me reading this thing at the top of my lungs at 6 o'clock in the morning, Donna comes from next door and she says, "When are you moving to Hawaii?" You know, it's like, which is a nice way of saying, I hope that this is soon. You know, I said, "Is it a little loud?" She said, "Yeah." So I'd go down in the basement and I'd start reading it down in the basement. The point is, you've got to read with enthusiasm. Now, if you're not someone like me, and this is sort of a newer version of mine, helping JVs earn over $2 million by 4/25/14 is awesome. I'm elated. Joy, laughter, and authentic intimate time become the currency of the compound. The 3 homes are throwbacks to the 60s, buzzing with activity, eating together, playing together, and having no financial pressure, helping the children have a place to retreat and launch from, finding their own true place in the world. And doing this with no financial pressure gives me elegant peace of mind, a living legacy. I'm feeling continuous gratitude wash over me as the compound serves as this incredible starting and retreat point. Okay, so you sort of get the idea. Get alone. And if reading out loud in a loud voice, I mean, I boom this thing. I'm not screaming over the thing. I don't want to blow your eardrums out here. But if that's not the type of enthusiasm, you can get enthusiastic with HEM. So you want to write that down, H-E-M. And you want to change it up, because when you change it up, it's new to the subconscious. H stands for hesitate, E stands for emphasize, M stands for modulate. This is a way, by the way, when you're doing meetings, to appear to be enthusiastic and not feel like a phony. Some people, it's not necessarily jumping around, waving your arms and all that. Probably one of your old blueprint things is, oh, I can't be enthusiastic. I can't be that way in front of people. That's your old blueprint. You can be enthusiastic because it's already in you. It's God or spirit in you. And you're going to let it shine through and shine on your definite major purpose. So one of the ways to do that is to hem. Hem means hesitate, emphasize, and modulate, like I said. So you're going to hesitate between the words. I'll give you one sentence. You can make $2,100 a week. 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 So it doesn't matter what word you emphasize in a sentence, which one or two words, just hesitate. And all modulate means if you'll just be conscious of moving your upper lip, you'll just sound more enthusiastic without sounding like a phony. The bottom line is you've got to find a way to be enthusiastic around your definite major purpose. Why? Because thoughts charged with feelings become beliefs, and those do what? Those create our actions. So that's how we build this thing with no effort. So we're now living forward. We're living from intention, because whatever your intention is, that's what you're going to pay attention to, and all that stuff about attention deficit disorder and all that stuff, it'll just vanish. You'll know what I know about it, okay? Anyway, desires are not limited by available methods. Intention creates the methods. Methods do not create intentions. Suddenly, the mysterious source that never sleeps, that's your subconscious mind, will start to act in ways that you don't even comprehend. You'll start finding yourself saying yes and no to different things. You'll start finding little creative ideas popping into your heads. Why? Because the subconscious is working 24 hours a day to find the methods and resources. They'll be created. The power and the mastermind alliance that you'll build and that you have access to right now will form the force that will put that definite major purpose in play. So here's our great discovery is PPNs. How do we trigger this new supply-demand blueprint? In other words, if you can plant the demand in your subconscious mind, it'll work 24/7 to go find the supply. Well, we do it with simple if-then logic. If what you want is in harmony with the Creator and fulfills your PPNs, then you have an authentic, definite, major purpose. Authentic DMPs trigger the things that you need, folks, the three things that you need: earnest desire, firm demand, and to activate the power that you were born with that's been laying there latent for 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years. It doesn't matter. It's there. And all you got to do is get it. The power is your subby working 24/7 to create. Notice the word create. It is creative. It is in the frontal lobe that this will happen. This is where creation comes from, okay? And it'll work that way and create the supply to fill the demand. What's the demand? The definite major purpose. I know what you're thinking. What the hell is a PPN? It's a personal pivotal need. It's oxygen for your soul. It's your bliss. It's so you can move away, like most people are afraid to. You can move away from the lives of quiet desperation, those thoughts that we have that we don't share with anybody else. It lifts us up. We embed them into the subconscious mind. How important are they? They are everything. They are the whispering of your heart's desire. You know those little heart's desires you have, just like I have, that you never told anybody? You're almost afraid to tell yourself. You got to let that voice out, man. You got to let it out. It's the elegance of who you are. It's the truth of your being. It's who you were intended to be. It's what you were created for. It's your bliss. And it's been whispering to you. It's been whispering to you. Listen to it. So grab a pen. Let's find it, okay? Make a decision and take a quantum leap. Get a blank piece of paper. You ready? 1, 2, 3. You ready? Okay. There's 7 personal pivotal needs. Resign from the debating team. You can make it 10. You can make it 27. There's 7. Okay? Think of it as an umbrella. They all fall into this. 1 is legacy. Okay? Now, legacy could be financial. It could be, you know, a book. It could be a lot of different things. These are very broad-based. Spiritual growth. Autonomy, meaning you don't have to ask, you're not accountable for where you come and go. Okay, you can come and go as you please. Liberty, which you define slightly differently. A lot of people say, what does this mean? What does that mean? Folks, this is Go 90 Grow, like P90X. Open the dictionary. Define these things for yourself, okay? I mean, I don't mean to be hard on anybody here, but it's like, my gosh, it's amazing. I was an English major, and it's amazing. People, 3-syllable words or more, people actually that read, actually less than 30% of them know what they actually mean, and they don't take the time to look them up. God bless Davine. She reads, and she reads with a dictionary beside her. What a freaking miracle. Anyway, not her, but just, it shouldn't stick out. She is a miracle. You're nature's greatest miracle, baby. Helping others, okay? Recognition for creative expression. Now, usually when people pick their PPNs, they never pick recognition for creative expression because they think that's an ego thing. Folks, it could be that garden I was talking about in the backyard, okay? It could be you want to be on stage. It could be you don't want to be on stage, but you want to help other people get on stage. It doesn't matter. Don't dismiss recognition for creative expression. If you're in network marketing, in case nobody's told you, one of the key profile points of people that join network marketing is they want recognition. Now you might think, oh, I don't want recognition. Yeah, you do. It might be your wife gives you a little wink and say, you know, I thought you were crazy, but you did it. Or your dad, or your husband, or your peers. It doesn't really matter, so it doesn't necessarily, yeah. Yeah, personal pivotal needs, yeah, okay. And true health, which is health that's obviously beyond just a healthy body, okay. So here's the 7, okay. So do the exercise. It's Go 90 Grow. If you haven't grabbed a pen, write these 7 words down. I'll give you a minute. Why sacrifice everything you want for the things that you don't want? Because everything you want that you want personally is underneath 2 of those things. It's 2 of those things, and they're different for all of us. What does that mean? Resisting this first step in the science of achievement means you want to hang on to what you don't want. You got the course, you're on this call. You got the course and you're on this call because you want to get better at what you do. This is how you do it. This is how you do it, okay? So anyway, let me take that off. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. You get those 7 words written down. Okay, so what I want you to do is hold the pen in your hand. I want you to close your eyes and tip your head up a little bit, okay? And notice if you're resisting it. Why do I have to do this, okay? Okay, why do I have to do ab ripper X at the end of all the exercises? Because I want a flatter abdomen, that's why, okay? All right, so I'm going to say a couple of words, about, and then I'm going to tell you to open your eyes and look down, okay, which you should not be looking at that list right now. And I'm going to tell you to do something. And when I do it, I do not want you to hesitate. Do not hesitate. Okay, so your eyes are closed. Here we go. I want you to put yourself in a place with whatever there is in your life that's bigger than you. You know, whatever your spiritual alignment is, wherever that place goes. If you're atheist or agnostic, that's fine. You know, find that spot where you know where the truth about yourself is. Find that spot, okay? If you have some type of spiritual affiliation, you know, ask that entity to clear your heart and be devoid of all influence. Okay, now on the count of 3, I want you to look at that list and circle 2 of those words, the 2 things that are your personal pivotal needs. You already know what they are, okay? 1, 2, 3. Look at the list, circle 2 of the words. Trust your instinct here. Great. Okay. All right, so pretty cool exercise. Now you know what your personal pivotal needs are, okay? And you're going to write a definite major purpose that is geared towards those personal pivotal needs, and then we'll add in some goals that support those personal pivotal needs. That's why goals don't work. They're generally in contradiction. For example, someone that wants liberty and autonomy, why would he want to own 3 or 4 real estate buildings, 3 or 4 buildings? It's gonna tie him someplace. This is why most people pick goals that other people have that are in conflict with their needs. So the first step is to make it different. The subconscious doesn't know what to do with different. So idealization is step 1. Most important, if it's foreign language to the non-judgmental subconscious mind, then your subby doesn't know what to do. Isn't that interesting? It's very interesting, because you can attach a feeling to it and build a belief. If the subconscious mind, if it's foreign to the subby, doesn't know what to do, and you tell it what to do. The ideal needs to be clear and different, not a resolution. It needs to be based on your deepest desire. That is your personal pivotal needs. Thoreau wrote, most people live lives of quiet desperation. There's no question about the fact that they live lives of quiet desperation because they don't get their personal pivotal needs met. Now let me tell you something about those personal pivotal needs. Most women circle true health and helping others, or spiritual growth and helping others. That's generally not it. So you might have to go back and do it again. Because here's the great thing about the PPNs, okay? And let me just go back here like I always do, because it's really important. My first 2 were recognition for creative expression and liberty. Because for 14 years, I didn't have a day off. Not a day off. I worked 7 days a week for 14 years. Even on Christmas, I was working. Okay, it's what I did. Cleaning the truck, getting it ready, whatever. And so when I wanted recognition for creative expression, and I wanted liberty. I wanted to be able to take the kids some places, have the money, and be able to, you know, do some cool stuff for myself. Okay? And because I was honest about that, I hit the pin level that I had to hit so that I'd be invited out to speak. And of course, they paid for us to come out. But here's the kicker. You've got to be honest with yourself here, and here's why. I couldn't have got creative recognition for creative expression, and I thought I had something to offer, and that people would enjoy it, and I'd get applause, and I'd get paid for it, right? By sharing, you know, the shortcuts that I had learned, and the liberty. But guess what? I couldn't have got there without helping others. I couldn't have got there if my health didn't improve. I couldn't have got there, most importantly, if I hadn't grown spiritually, right? Because all growth is spiritual. And that's created a legacy. So don't worry about it, okay? Be selfish here. You've been told not to be selfish. That's a red pencil. There's a time to be selfish. And learning how to take care of your needs in an appropriate way, there's no greater lesson you can give your kids. And there's nothing more that's more attractive than other people that meet people that know how to get their needs met in an appropriate way. Okay, so that's what you want to do, is make sure that you want to draw this idealization, and this is based on saving your life, resurrecting this incredible entity and power that's within you, and that's driven by your deepest desire, you getting your needs met, and that great discovery of ours. Think and grow rich. I want you to stun yourself. Matter, listen to me now, matter is powerless. It's passive and it's inert. Mind is force, energy, and power. Mind shapes and controls matter. Every form of matter is but what an expression of some pre-existing thought. The house you live in right now, the room you're sitting in, the furniture that you're sitting on is matter. It's all matter. It was somebody's thought before it became a chair, before it became a computer, before it became a house. Somebody had the thought that this looks like a good place to build an apartment building or a house. It's all, and guess what? You got the same thing, but thought works, no magic transformations. It obeys what? Natural law. It sets in motion natural forces. It releases natural energies. It manifests in your conduct and in your actions. And these, in turn, react upon your friends and acquaintances and eventually upon the whole of your environment. Wow, that's strong. You can originate thought, and since thoughts are creative, you can create for yourself the things and the life that you desire. Now, most people, when they see that little diagram on the right, see that light going out. It isn't. It's coming in. It's coming in. How do you get it to come in? How do you connect to universal energy or natural law? By sitting and thinking for 15 minutes. The subby will go get that stuff for you, and it'll develop a rich flow of ideas. Me, creative, light flowing in, creating a new reality. The secret of creative power is it's a spiritual activity. Where is it? It's within. How may we develop faith, courage, enthusiasm, which will result in achievement? By recognition of our spiritual nature. What is the secret of power? It's service, and you've heard it all over Go 90 Grow. You know, you can't teach what you don't know. You can't give away what you don't have. You've got to learn the skills and give them away. So how do you manifest your DMP? You master the skills, right, and you get into service to other people. Why is this so? Because we get what we give. I wrote a blog about a month or so ago that is really what the whole Master Key course that we teach is based on, and we spill a lot of it in here for you. But it's really simple. Give more, get more. Give more hate, get more hate. Give more anger, get more anger. You know, give more love, get more love. Give more help, get more help. Give more to other people's dreams, more people will give to your dreams. That's why it's so. So you've got to be in service. But it's got to be without the expectation of reciprocity. You have to understand that the universe is going to, you help Alice, I help you. You don't know where the help is going to come from. Most people are too singular. They're not really helping their downline. They're trying to get their downline to go to work so they'll get a check. We're going to change all that. How do you reclaim this power? And here I am again, and we're going to beat you up pretty hard about this if we have to. You've got to sit. You reclaim this power in silence. It's the only way to access it. You've got to shut the noise down. What is silence? Physical stillness. You've got to be absolutely still. You've got to get control over your body. What is the value? It's the first step to self-control, which leads to self-mastery. The Sufis taught that we already have it, we were born with and already have everything we need to have and everything we need to know. We're connected to all spiritual truths, all great truths, and all understanding and all wisdom. All we have to do is master it. We can't master it with the entire world trying to get your attention to try to buy their junk, their clothes, their cologne, their steak, you know, whatever it happens to be. I'm not opposed to anybody peddling anything, but you've got to make that time where you can shut all that stuff down. In the beginning, it's challenging. Some it's more challenging for others. Stay with it. You'll get better at it. I mean, I'm doing Insanity now. I looked at that thing a year ago and I said, you know what? I would normally say that's impossible, but I'm going to get there by my next birthday, which is this April. And I'm there. I'm there. It'll be it won't be pretty, but I'll finish by my birthday the first 60 days of Insanity, and then I'll start again after the live event. Why? Because I don't say that's impossible. 20 years ago, I said, there's no way I could do that. What was I looking at? I was looking at the methods available, not my intention. My intention is to have true health, and nothing's going to stop that. And that's what I'm saying. That's a need of mine now. Your old blueprint says no and rationalizes. The big question is, what will you decide to do? Folks, if nobody's told you this before, our actions are our decisions, and we are the decisions that we make. Okay, so anyway, the winning pattern, read the assignment and write your DMP. The difference between knowing what to do and doing it is scheduling it. If it isn't written, it isn't true. So schedule it right after this call. There's nothing that's more important than the life that you want, because it'll affect the lives of other people. What do successful people do? They don't make commitments they don't plan to keep, and they keep the commitments that they make. This is the first step in crafting your new blueprint. The time thing, 168 hours, we went over this last week, but if you didn't see it, 56 for rest, 50 for work and commute and some errands, 20 for worship and family, that leaves 42. Sometimes things go wrong. We call that Murphy's Law. If things can go wrong, they invariably will. So we factored that in for you. That leaves you 30 hours. What you do with those 30 hours will make you rich or poor in all the 13 areas of your life. It's the inevitable conclusion. So you got 3.5 to 5 hours of personal growth and forming a new blueprint, so the decisions that the subconscious made are now coming from a different spot, not from your old blueprint, okay? 30 minutes daily, 12 hours on the business, still leaves you 10 to 15 hours a week. Make a decision. With challenge comes change. Where do you make that decision? Within. The choices we make with our time, you've got to get better at them. Every member who's gone for it has always said, no later than the 6th week, I got more time than I've ever had in my life. I don't know how. I'm like 40 minutes a day in this personal growth stuff, and I have so much time to do my business and be with my family. It's unbelievable. And you'll find out later in the course that that's just because most of us fill our lives with a bunch of nonsense to give us a feeling of being alive and to distract ourselves from looking at the things that we're afraid of in the life that we want. It's easier to be a critic than to be action-focused, but that's not how we work. Okay, Mark, I'm in. What do I do? So read 1 through 6. You're going to get this in the email. That's an honor requirement. View the videos if you haven't seen them. If you have, view 1 and 2 at least one more time. Take the assessment test in the workbook. That's really important. You need to do that today. Do the corresponding exercise in the workbook. The corresponding exercise is entitled Desire. Write down your PPNs and use it as a basis for your definite major purpose, and submit your initial definite major purpose along with your 2 PPNs to go90grow@gmail.com. I can audit the course via recorded webcast videos, but this is Go90Grow. I want you to go for it now. You know, you're going to get into this. You're going to come into the summer. You won't even recognize yourself, but it won't be that you turned into something different. It's that you started to transform into the person that you intended to be and the person that you really want to be, your higher self. But you've got to put your name and DMP in the subject line. It's the only way we can help you, because there's going to be additional things that you're going to want to email. You know, I want you to really feel that you're being confronted to make a decision, and you have made a decision, okay? I hope you feel incredible. Okay, so what's a DMP? It's a definiteness of purpose. It's covered in the Reading and Think and Grow Rich. Trust me, my staff knows, and I know if you've read the material. That's your job. Don't even bother submitting it if you haven't read the material, okay? We'll put a model up for you, but there's a model in there, and use our additions, the feelings, the present tense, and so forth. It's also in the workbook, the beginning of formulating a DMP, right? The little desire exercise in the workbook. It's a requirement, put your 2 PPNs on top of the DMP. If you send them in without it, they're going to send it back. It's a work in progress. That's our job. This is when people really start to realize, holy crap, they weren't lying when they said they capped the class. We're working with you individually for the next month, okay, sometimes on a daily basis. Be excited, not annoyed when they get returned to you. Most of them are going to get returned with corrections. That's our job. The language has to be precise. Remember I told you, I said last week, stop saying negative things to yourself. Well, what does that do? That links you and me to negative things. So we replace that with start saying positive things to yourself. Okay, that's key. So a lot of it's just that kind of finite language that we don't think makes a huge difference, but it does. Get used to working on this for the next few weeks. It's great living with purpose and on purpose. Why? Because it's going to be the core of a new blueprint that you pick, not mommies and daddies and Uncle Ed's and, you know, what your coach that you looked up to and a girlfriend that you had in high school who still influences you even though she dumped you. You get away from all that stuff, okay? How do I write it? Schedule a time to do it as soon as this call is over, or schedule it right now while we're talking. Read sections 4 through 6 if you were on the call last week. You can start with 4 through 6. If you weren't on the call last week, this is your first call. This is actually the first official class. You haven't missed anything, but you got to go through 1 through 6. But in 4 through 6, it sort of gives you a model, okay? Do the corresponding exercise in the Desire workbook. Put the 2 PPNs at the top. Write it out by hand. Add feelings. Type it into an email, go90grow@gmail.com. Make sure you put your 2 PPNs at the top. I know it seems like I'm saying it 100 times, and then people get aggravated when we send it back to them. What are your PPNs? Okay. Now, most of the time, if someone's done a decent job, we can read it and figure out what they are, but that's your job, okay? And we'll show you some examples of some stuff that's pretty good next week and some stuff that's not so good to help you, okay? You've got to trust the way that we teach, okay? And we'll explain the method behind the madness in about 3 weeks. But anyway, enjoy the experience. It's an experience, folks. We're here to experience life. Don't worry about getting it right or perfect. That's the red pencil bull doo-doo. Didn't swear. Still got one coming, okay? And then, folks, they put erasers on pencils for a reason, okay? This isn't about getting it right or perfect. Just get it done to the best of your ability. You need a little help from your friends. Well, this is actually a little help from your friends from John Lennon. That's actually what he wrote it out on, okay? And then, of course, they converted it with a little help from her friends. He got it cleaned up and added music, and then, of course, it became iconic. So your definite major purpose if you follow directions and steps in Think and Grow Rich. Okay, we've added a little help. It's in the resource area. If you go in the resource area, you'll see a 2-page document like that, okay, that will also, that's just another format of what's in Hill's book. That's a great way to help you get started. Do not submit that to us, okay? Does that make sense? Don't submit this to us. Some of you have a hard time writing out a paragraph or two. This is just a different way that sort of converted what Hill is in there. But all you got to worry about is the achievement. You can fill that out, but just write out a DMP, okay? By the way, you need to take the assessment test, and I got a tip for you, okay? It's for your eyes only. The tip, get a trusted friend. When they tell you that they'd score you a little lower on one point, take their number. Take their number. Now, you're going to take this assessment test at the end of the course, too, okay? We've all got blind spots, so the starting point is not a judgment. Just let me tell you that you need to make a little correction on the sheet that's in there. For some reason, it's a typo, which I don't have any control over. But right there where it says 21 to 49 points for your score, change that to 31, okay? So there's a bunch of things, and you're going to ask yourself, do I always do that? Do I sometimes do that? Do I never do that? And you're going to end up with a certain amount of points. But make sure you get a trusted friend, go over the list with them, and use their numbers. Use their numbers to look for a starting point. That's what we're doing for. Okay, so we want to help you put your name and DMP in the subject line. The email is go90grow@gmail.com. Now, we're doing also, I know that there's a company that's having a challenge, Kivana. If you're with Kivana, please put a Q in front of your name. So yours would be Q, Mark Januszewski, DMP, okay? That's all. It'd be easiest because we're tracking them for the company for you. But send over your DMPs with your name, okay, in the subject line, -DMP, because you're going to be sending other things over if you want continued support, like your written plan of action and your mastermind alliance statement and so forth, okay? Now, the reading assignments match this. Use the one we're using. When we tell you to read 1 through 6, we don't mean 1 through the 6th step, which is, through imagination. Just 1, 2, and 3, the author's preface, introduction, 3 from gold. If you were here last week, then you can just go 4, 5, and 6. If you weren't, then you're going to go 1 through 6. It's not that much reading. Deal with it. Okay. Make sure you dream out loud enthusiastically. Okay, you've got to do that. So I'm in now. What? There's the assignment. It's on the way. It's probably already in your box. Yes, it's a repeat. Name and subject, name and DMP in the subject line, and we'll open it up here. Okay. What is it, sweetheart? Hold on a second. Did you call him? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Gotta say hi to Dana. Hi, Dana. If the PPNs aren't included and you have not watched the videos and the DMP doesn't look, close to what a DMP is supposed to look like, you're probably going to get it back. So again, if there's no PPNs and it doesn't look like what's explained in the first 3 videos and numbers 1 through 6 in the reading of the version that we're using, you will probably just get it back. There won't be any kind of critique or information. So I just want to let everybody know that all that stuff has to be included in order for us to be able to accurately and concisely and with feeling address your DMP. That's all.
Okay. Thanks, honey. Yeah, and a lot of you will get to know Kathy. She'll be on, she'll have a more active role in some of the upcoming calls. Okay. Did you take care of Michael Glowicki? Okay. Okay. Jeffrey Hicks shares what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. An Emerson fan. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. We live the law. We try to live the law of compensation. Oh, Anna Ray, she wants a compound. Yeah, so that she asked about that. Yeah, it's where is that in here? My success as a teacher affords me the privilege of purchasing a 3-home compound in Kalaheo, Kauai. So I'll actually be driving up by it today. Now the people that live there don't know they're living in my house, but anyway. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Sorry for some of the delays, and I will remember to read. If you focus on achievement, accomplishments take care of themselves. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You'll get rid of the nonsense. Jeffrey says, educational indoctrination. You got it. Okay. Thanks, John, for forgiving my little cuss. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Let me see if I can get this guy. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you? Jeffrey? Well, can't get him. Obviously, Jeffrey is a Emerson guy. He says, we curse the effect, but we nourish the cause. I'm stealing that one. Write that one down, honey. Yeah, I got my hands full. The World Within, that book is out of Hanel's Master Key System, which I would, we're going to bring you through that at the end of the course. I just stay with this right now. I'm going to leak a little bit in. So but certainly you can get that. That's actually in the resources that we have. We have a library in there for you can get it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Lori writes, the only benefit to the movie The Secret is hopefully it showed some of the sleepwalker drifters that the laws of the universe and their own thoughts create their reality, which equals the law of attraction. Actually, the law of attraction is that will objectify the thoughts that we hold. That's the law of attraction, which I've renamed the law of environment. It's sort of a paper I'm working on, that whatever belongs in an environment, if you create the correct environment, the things that belong there will show up. It takes more energy to fail. Now to go figure out my bliss. That has been a lifelong struggle and a suffering to this day. Okay, let me show you how we work here. This is really important. If I can continue to improve my alphabet stuff. Okay. Which is a pretty cool story. Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm doing better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now you said in this thing, OMG, I get it. It takes more energy to fail. One of the reasons it takes more energy to fail is when we fail, we then beat ourselves up for failing, and then we have to, whatever way we recover with that food, feeling sad for a few days, and so forth. So we're all pretty clear on that. But it says, now to figure out my bliss. That has been a lifelong struggle and suffering to date. Okay? So let me ask you this. Do you think that's a good thing to say to yourself?
No.
Could we change that now to go figure out my bliss? I've been preparing my whole life for this moment.
Oh, I like that.
You see the difference?
Yes.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And this is why on a lot of the DMPs, you're going to get them back. It's just little tiny words like that. We don't even realize it. We got this beautiful DMP back from somebody last time, and in there the word debt was in there 6 times in his DMP. What's he fascinating? What you're doing with this thought is you're holding the thought of lifelong struggle and suffering, which means your subconscious mind is going to do what? Delay it further. So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, okay, so I'm very clear I'm looking at what I wrote and that you just read, and
Yep.
I'm looking that it's all the same train of thought.
Correct.
If my thoughts are like a train, I keep attaching another car to the train, and it's a lifelong train of what? Like, there's nothing in there that's going to change, period. Thank you.
Yeah. So if we change, this is just one idea. So it says, oh my God, I get it. There's that billionth of a volt. It takes more energy to fail, right? Which should be, oh my God, I get it. It takes less energy to succeed. Now I get to go decide my bliss. I've prepared my whole life for this moment. I'm ready. Is much different than it takes more energy to fail, now to go figure out my bliss. That's been a lifelong struggle and suffering to date. You see that it's different?
Yes, and can I add, just for the other listeners, if this is resonating with them, what you're mentoring and coaching me on is, and that's like having me a greater realization in that is we teach people how to treat us. So whatever I write there that you just read, if I change it, then everyone is going to support me that much more, i.e. family.
Right, and I was a victim, okay? I was a victim who could never catch a break. And when I found some people that were willing to give me a break, right, I got rid of them and go found some people that wouldn't give me a break. It's like, but it's proof. The good news is it's proof that we manifest our thoughts. So the trick is to change our thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I like the analogy of, or your distinction, law of attraction is law of environment, because
Yeah.
does my environment support me to be successful? And I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, thanks for sharing. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot.
No problem.
Great, great, great. Okay, so, yep, we're saving that one. Yes, the red pencil mentality. Okay. Yep, it's been rewritten. Thank you, Michael. HEM is the William Shatner method, somebody writes. You're welcome, Belanca. Personal pivotal need. Oh, that was probably before, right? Okay. DMP, got it. I'm shouting yes from my heart. And the last thing, I identified autonomy as primary, but now I realize the definition of my primary is liberty. Yeah, okay. That's good. You want to pick 2 PPNs. Okay, 2 PPNs. This is a good question because this may help a few people. Walter. Hey, Walter.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Forget about it. How you doing?
Fantastic. We got springtime in Toronto finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Summer's tomorrow, and then fall is on Monday, right?
Exactly. We got 2 days of construction in between.
Okay, so you have here, this is my second time. What's your question?
Well, I'm working on the DMP. I've been working on, and I'm wondering what would be the most effective. I'm going to do the assessment, the self-assessment again.
Yeah.
And then to do the DMP, is it best to just kind of put the other one completely aside and start from scratch, or tweak the other one to fit more with where I am personally right now?
Who knows the answer to that?
I was hoping you did. No, you're right. I probably do, right?
Yeah, if you've been sitting faithfully, you'll know the answer. If you haven't, then then you got to dig a little deeper. But it's in that spot in silence where we find the truth. So does it resonate with you? Do you have the PPNs correct? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the whole thing. Are you? And when you wrote it out, are you moving towards it? If you're not moving
but
towards
not
it,
at the pace that I expected. That's what that's why I was wondering what I should do. Should I? But now I see your point. I understand that now.
yeah. Okay.
Well, great wise one.
Okay, man. Peace. All right. So, did you take care of Blanca, honey, about the form? Okay. Yeah, okay. The form, that little form, you don't need it. And we hesitated. This is sort of an experiment. We might not put it in here. It says quick DMP worksheet. And you can open that up. It's in, but this is what do you want to achieve? And then it asks you about your feelings, okay? What do you really, these are just sort of questions. This stuff here about what you want to earn, don't worry about it. What are you willing to sacrifice? In Hill's book, it talks about what are you willing to give up. And if that's not in there, folks, they're coming back. There's no such thing as a free lunch. That's what I mean. The staff knows. When we get DMPs and people don't have sacrifice in there, what they're willing to give more, get more, we know they haven't read it. this is a great question, and I believe this guy might be like myself. Yeah, a 60s. The Chipper might be from the 60s. Hey, Chip, how you doing?
60s, yes.
Rock on.
Hey, I'm with you, brother.
Peace, love, tie-dye, the American dream. This is a great question. Is it okay? I didn't want to get public about it without talking to you first, but about your wife and you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're sitting here listening to this together. She's joined me on this, and
Yeah.
we're just kind of looking, hey, is this something that we should do individually, or we do it together? Now, the two of us look at each other and go, yes, of course we've got to do this together because it's our family, it's our mission in life together. But as far as the course is concerned, am I submitting mine, or do we submit individuals? That's the question.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give you a little advanced thing on this, which is really out of the master keys, and but I'll make it brief. You guys should do them individually because your personal pivotal needs and hers, they may be similar, they may be totally different, whatever. But what's your wife's first name?
Amy.
Amy. Okay, so Amy's might be different than yours. The great Gil Braun wrote, about marriage or relationships, drink the same wine but not from the same glass. Okay, so your individualism is crucial, and you guys are going to have different ways of looking things, and then sometimes people have different ideas about, no, it should be written this way and blah, blah, blah. So those are your individual expressions of self, and obviously for you to do better as individuals and find your higher selves individually, that's going to enhance the entity of the relationship anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, one of the things that we talk about all the time that's a little more advanced is, every day I get up, I usually focus on 4 or 5 people. I'm focused on this woman in Canada right now. And I read other people's DMPs every day like I read my own. Because I know if I can support other people in their dreams or in their definiteness of purpose, that mine are going to come true. So what Davine and I do is I have her DMP and I have mine, and I read both of them in the morning, and I read a few others. So it's a sort of a way to connect non-verbally in thought with somebody else, and that you're holding their dream. And I got to tell you, when you're reading your wife's dream or your wife's reading your dream, I'll tell you something. It's pretty amazing what can happen between a couple, because there's a level of intimacy that becomes so elegant, and you know that you're being supported, and you know that she's and you are both making different decisions because you have something in your hand and eventually in your head and finally in your heart that's near and dear to somebody else, that's not built around you, but you know that the advancement of them to their higher self is going to enhance the relationship and you benefit from it. And it's just kind of a cool thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I
go ahead.
Into if Amy could submit hers as well? And you guys,
absolutely. Happy to do that for you. Done deal.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Okay? Woodstock, baby. Woodstock. A chipster. Okay. All right. So Karen says, I've been sitting 15 minutes 2 times a day. Is it best to switch to 1 time only? I don't want to do this wrong. There it is, folks. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? That's the red pencil syndrome. Do you see it? Do you see how it's such a part of us? The fact that you're even sitting is incredible. Karen.
Yes.
Take that freaking red pencil and throw it out the window. Okay.
Okay.
There is no wrong. There's only good, better, and best, and I'll never rest until my good is better and my better is best. It's what works for you. I have 2, 3, I'm in a really stressful, wonderful stress right now. How we react to stress is either it's a challenge or it's, overwhelming is really the difference between happiness and pain. So, the stress that I'm under is like, I wouldn't have this if so many things weren't going so great. I'm so excited about the live event and this class and everything, that kind of stuff. So, but basically, so the way that I recenter myself is I can grab 10, 15 minutes, and sometimes Dave will come out and just say, hey, Buddha, get in here. You've been out here for 45 minutes sitting in a trance. You got to do some work. It's just going to happen. It'll manifest. Whatever works for you. A lot of people like 2 times or more a day. Once they cross the line like you have and realize this doesn't take time, it adds time to my life, right? That's kind of where you're at?
Right.
Yeah. So number 1, no more, and we don't even want to say the phrase, but we have to, red pencil, get that, okay? Okay. So do what's best for you and experiment a little bit. Experiment with your mind and experiment with what you're doing. That you're just doing it, magnificent. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay,
Thank you.
peace. Thanks, Karen. Great stuff. All right. Now here's a guy that's jumping off the call. We call him Tommy Gunn, right? This guy did no network marketing before. Used the Go90 Grow skills. This is really important, folks. He used the Go90 Grow skills. He qualified for their upper echelon pin levels, got a free trip for himself and his wife, a cruise in Europe. And when they were on the cruise, they gave him like this really high target to hit. And if he hit the target, he'd not only qualify for the cruise for next year, but he could bring somebody else. He could bring another couple, another cabin with him, right? Well, here's what's really interesting. He's taken Think and Grow Rich again. No network marketing experience. And there's a lesson in there for you if you're paying attention, okay? He changed the way that he thinks, and it's changed the results. Oh, you're welcome, James. I'm glad you were able to get on here. Yeah, I hear you, Joseph. We got that coming up, too, the mental diet. Yeah, Mark Missingham says, I am ablaze with anticipation for change. What a fantastic way to look at it. Honey, write that down. That's like, we could write a song about, that's like a Billy Joel song. That's fantastic, Mark. Right? Yeah, Luther, that's a good question. I know it seems like it's kind of fast, but the PPNs, can you put, is that a document that goes up in the thing, honey? The 7 personal pivotal needs? Okay. This is what they are, legacy, spiritual growth. So what you do, Luther, is you pick 2 of those, find that inner peace, close your eyes, find that inner peace, and trust the voice. Pick the 2 that you want. Pick the 2. They're your needs, not what your husband and wife needs. Chip shouldn't be picking these with respect to Amy. He should be taking care of his own soul, his own needs, because if he gets his needs met, he doesn't have to ask as much from her, and he has more of himself to give. And whatever the 2 that you pick are, the other 5 are going to happen anyway. Like I said, I couldn't grow my group to hit the pin level to be allowed to be able to go out and speak if I didn't help other people. And I couldn't learn how to help other people until I grew spiritually. I wasn't not trying to help them so I could get what I want, but just learned how to help them without expectation or reciprocity. So you pick 2 of those, and those are the catharsis of your definite major purpose. Like mine right now, my 2 personal pivotal needs have shifted. I've been at this for a long time. Liberty and recognition for creative expression, those have been satiated. So now I'm 15 years older than Dave. I got a little bit of a health challenge that we're kicking its butt. And it's a miracle. It's fantastic. But basically, my needs are true health and legacy, so I have $2 million in additional cash prior to yada, 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 and then what I intend to do to get that. But my success offers me the privilege of purchasing a 3-compound home in Cullahale. That's part of the legacy. Now, down later in it, it says that I become the oldest guy in P90X to bring it. Being in top physical condition feels freeing. I'm free to push my potential beyond its limits, always improving. Daily, I create a legacy that gives me peace of mind. The peace of mind of knowing I supplied the physical needs for the next generation is dwarfed by the peace of mind I experienced knowing that real legacy was how. Being an example of controlling thoughts and manifesting dreams. This causes my heart to soar with my spirit like an eagle. I'm elated to be living my bliss. But you see that the true health thing is in here. And further up it talks, yeah. I make healthy choices 24/7 right now, eating a minimum of 70% raw and drinking. But the point is, these pieces I'm reading out of my DMP, which I'll post up in a week or two, you could tell by reading it that it's about true health and legacy. Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you go through the process, Cynthia. Yeah. Kathy who? Oh, can you unmute her? I got her. Well, she's got herself muted, honey.
I'm
Hi,
here.
Kathy. Here's my coach. This is when I get taken. I beat you guys up for a while. She beats me up. Go for it. No, just kidding.
Hello.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Good. What was the question?
Anything you want. Weigh in on anything you want, Coach.
Well, I just wanted to mention about the personal pivotal needs. I don't know if Mark mentioned this, but you just need to pick 2 because last time Davina and I both got in DMPs that had 3 and 4 listed. And it's just, very important to just search your heart and narrow it down to 2 because you will get all 7 of them as a byproduct, but you just want to pick 2 initially to just have that target, to have that focus. So we're looking forward to seeing all the DMPs because we got every class we get some awesome ones in, and they're very much a work in progress, so don't worry about it if it's going to take a few revisions because we want it to be the best it can be for you. So that's it.
Okay.
Back to you.
Thanks, Kathy. So let's see if I can get Paul on here. Honey, I love you, baby, but I'm struggling here with all this technology myself, so hop in anytime. Hey, Paul, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Good, good. Now, you had a question here about, do I have the right Paul? Yeah. About the silent time, about the silence.
Correct. Yeah, whenever I do my silent time, it seems like my mind keeps bouncing all around to different thoughts and completely different subjects, and I was just wondering, am I supposed to be focusing on keeping my mind quiet or just let the thoughts flow?
Yeah, the first week, just let it rip. This week here, as you write out your DMP, start thinking, do your best to think about that. But here's what's really great, Paul. This is a beautiful thing that you just shared with everybody. You're observing, and you probably heard me say it so many times in the skills stuff. Be an observer. Be an observer. You're observing what's going on. It happens to all of us. It's the average person cannot hold a thought for more than 6 seconds. And when we get you up to 12 to 15 seconds where you can really focus, and then even longer periods of time, everything changes. So you're right where you're supposed to be, and I really want to compliment you, and I really want you to acknowledge to yourself, hey, I'm observing what's going on with me. When was the last time you did that? While it's happening. I mean, we all beat ourselves up in retrospect sometimes, but you're actually observing what's going on while it's happening. And for some of us, it's a little frightening to see that, holy crap, I can't hold, I'm thinking about this course Go 90 Grow, and I'm going to think about this, and next thing you know, you're at the dry cleaners, and then the girl that dumped you in high school and the one that took you back that you hoped wouldn't take you back, you were just trying to grandstand. I mean, you know, the fumble you made on the 5-yard line, where I lost my wallet the other day, so my focus is a little screwed off too. But don't worry about it. You're going to get control over it by the 4th or 5th week. Okay?
Okay.
Great stuff.
Definitely.
Great stuff.
Well, thanks a lot, Mark.
You're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. All right. Yeah, it might be a little different, Vincent. It's just a general outline. Let's see if Jude's still on here. Hi, Jude. How are you?
Hey, I'm wonderful.
Yeah. So you got the postcard, huh?
I got the postcard. It's so exciting. I can't wait to see that falls, and I can't wait to be there and meet everyone, meet you guys, and just grow.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. We're going to have about 25, 30 people, 4 instructors here, lots of personal attention, nothing like you've ever been through, and plenty of time to enjoy the island. And what Jude and I are talking about as Go 90 Grow members, we have a live event here from time to time, and you're entitled to come to it. And so we'll get you some video. And you've earned your way over here, and I'm going to tell you how excited we are to have you over, and we know you're going to love it. So thanks for being on the call, and thanks for doing the work to earn your way over here. That's great.
My pleasure.
All right. Peace through the journey. We'll see you soon. Okay. Mark, the 15-minute sitting quiet time, is there a prep for this meeting? Is there a proper way to initiate the quiet time, or just do it? One of the things that a couple of suggestions, same spot every day when you can. Sometimes you're traveling, can't do it, but same spot. You want to be erect. You know, you want you want to make sure your solar plexus and diaphragm is, that you're not sort of hunched over. I mean, you know, people have all different formulas for it, and I really appreciate them because they've connected with something special, so they're trying to give you so much detail, and the next thing you know, the red pencil comes out, and the next thing you know, you're looking from one person to another to telling you how to meditate. The main thing is to relax, which is very hard, as Paul just shared with us. Your mind's all over the place. Next thing is to try to relax your body next week, so you're just sitting there. You feel energized after the time. The next thing is to start to relax your mind, so you can get your mind to actually go totally blank for a split second or 2 or 3. So I'm not a big one on details, and I appreciate that. I know some people are. The details I would give you is you'll be able to get into the state that you want to get into once you discover that state. If you can develop a little routine about where you sit, you know, that it's not in a different place all the time. Experiment with a few places. You want to be comfortable, but you want to make sure that your back is somewhat straight so that there's a good airflow into your diaphragm and all that. You know, like I said, you can read 40 different books and people will tell you 40 different positions to get in. I don't really think it's important. It's all in the mind anyway, and it'll reveal itself. But it's a good question. I found that by going to the same spot all the time, that now that I know the state that I want to be in and try to create this openness to universal mind, I can just get there very quickly, matter of a split second. So Larry says, what do you mean by the 5 minutes verbal? Well, you just heard me verbalizing it. You're going to be reading out loud, affirming things out loud. But you're going to be very careful about the words that you pick to affirm. Okay. Oh, this is a great, great question. For those of you that have stayed on, I know we're in the 2 hours. We get done in about an hour. And next week and the following weeks I'll be done in less than 50 minutes. But this is really a good, good question for those of you that hung on here. Let me see if he's still here. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
Great, great, great. This is just such a great question. Would you mind sharing it with everybody?
Well,
size of the DMP?
Sure. You know, you always want to set yourself up to win. So, and you make your own rules. So, should you start with a smaller DMP so you can achieve it quicker and then go for the big one later, or should you start with the big one?
You know, that's an individual thing, and I'm just going to share this one thing with you that might help you find your truth. Some people need to go small and grow what they believe the possibilities for themselves are. Other people do have a big picture mentality. I found about half the people with big picture mentality, it's somebody else's big picture. It's not really that true. So I'm a big believer in finding your truth. Whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter. Because once you understand this process, it will change anyway.
Right.
And things like bigger and smaller will disappear. What I do now can seem very, very small, but to me it's very, very big because it's the most important thing to me. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's
Hold
awesome.
on one second. Yes, you can. So basically, if you're the, you know, for me, I wanted to get to $300 a week. I needed 300 a month, and I wanted to get to 300 a week. I'm going to get $1,000 net after my auto ship. You know, that's going to give me some breathing room, and that's when I really got into the Thinking Words material and realized that that was sort of an accomplishment goal rather than achievement. The next one I wrote out was a little bigger, but it certainly wasn't living in Hawaii. And it wasn't that I didn't give myself permission. It's just what's in your consciousness. You don't want to be comparing what's in your consciousness to what's in other people's consciousness. In other words, who cares what the top 10 level at your company thinks is a big deal? It's what's a stretch for you that meets your needs. See, if you meet those needs, it's big.
Here you go from Ferdinand.
Does that make sense, Tommy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that help you?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you're the kind of guy that thinks month to month, then write month to month goals. Okay, so is Trish on the call? Where is she, up at the top? Okay. All right. So, thanks, Joe. Oh, hey, you there, Trish?
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yeah, how you feeling? You bouncing back?
I'm bouncing back.
You need to be in Kauai. That's what you need, sister.
You are right on.
Everybody, I want you to meet Trish. Trish is one of the people that's going to be working with some of you on your DMPs. And she's actually a rocket scientist, so don't try to fool her. If she can put a rocket on the moon, she can figure out whether or not you read the material, right? Is that true?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you went through this experience a couple of times. Is there anything that you can share that's similar to the tips or two that Kathy gave them?
I think you already covered you basically pointed out that there were people who started it the first time and didn't take it as seriously and didn't really focus on the doing the exercises every day and sitting every day. And the first time I went through, I was scrambling to keep up, and I was one of those people. So the second time I went through, it made a huge, huge difference to stay with it, stay with the assignments, stay with the reading, do what's required to be a part of it, because you won't regret it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, we're looking forward to seeing you at the end of the month, and a lot of people are going to get to know Trish and Kathy and Dave a lot more over the next few weeks, which is a nice break from me. And thanks, Trish. I really appreciate what you're doing. So Mark says he's a little confused with the homework. It's actually in the assignment, but read 1 through 6, sections 1 through 6 in, or 4 through 6 if you read 1 through 3 last week. Okay, so you're just going to read those, do the assessment test. That takes like 10 minutes, and write out a definite major purpose, and which will be a derivative of what you're reading in chapters 4 through 6, and do the homework in the in Think and Grow Rich with the workbook. That's all there is to it. So you read 4 through 6. You'll notice that every week in the workbook, beginning this week, we're on desire, which is step 1. Okay, and you'll see that there's an exercise. We're going to desire, and then on the 13th of April, we'll go to faith. The following week, auto-suggestion. So you just do the exercises in this workbook. Really that simple. Okay. I got the beach ball, honey. Okay. Okay. So, and you'll have that in there. If you have any questions, just do it. Just give us a shout, Mark. Hope that helps you. Review videos. Make sure you sit every day. Go ahead.
You're in trouble now.
Why?
Ferdinand wrote, "Yo, Mark, instead of saying that you're struggling with all the technology and asking FabD for help, shouldn't it be more like, I love that I'm learning technology and it keeps me sharp." And the FabD jumped in.
I love this new technology and it keeps me sharp. As a matter of fact, folks, I used to say it'll take me a while to get to your questions because I really suck at the alphabet. And it was actually Trish that was just she was a first-time member, and she said, "Hey, listen, I kind of want to bring this up. You always say you struggle with the alphabet. Maybe that's why you're struggling with it. So now I love the alphabet, and thanks, Fernand. I love the new technology. I don't struggle with it at all. I eat it for breakfast." It doesn't matter when you do the self-assessment test, but I think after a moment of reflection, it's a good idea. No, there's nothing pertinent, James, to the postcard. It just was something we sent. You got it. Okay. Thanks, Fernand. Okay, so we're winding down. Thank you, Trish. We're getting thank you, Trish's. Thank you, Kathy's. Okay, great. Yes, that's correct, James, after the webcast. No, the assignments are not. The assignments for Think and Grow Rich, what we talked about last week is you have 3 options. You can work through it on your own. You can hop in and out and audit it, work it on your own. But when we tell you in the videos before you got Go90Grow and on the live webcasts that we give you hands-on support, well, we can't really support people hands-on if we don't know what they want. So, we don't take calls. Well, they don't last very long where people tell us how bad their upline is and how bad their company is and this and that and all that stuff. That's not what we're talking about for help. What we're talking about is helping people get what they want. So, no, they're not requirements, James, to participate in the webinar. The reason we say they're requirements to get them in is that this is when we're doing the live course, and it's accumulative. So you got to get it in so you can keep up with us. Okay. Yeah, Susan, it's on the worksheet, how to figure out the money on that thing. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, well, listen, everybody, thanks for being on the call. Closing thought. Dave, you can go ahead and shut this down, honey. Just want to leave them with one closing thought. We know that the webcasts are about 45 to 65